Welcome back to the Straw Hat Duo. My name's Charlie, and today we're going over One Piece chapter 1081. And in this chapter, we get to learn the fate of Law and how that battle with Blackbeard went. So, to start out with, we have a cover page story of Luffy in a what looks to be cat or tiger suit holding a fish with various other anime main characters around him. Then we get another cover spread for just the beginning of One Piece portion of the magazine, and it is the Straw Hat crew laying on what looks like it could be a lily pad, maybe, with a bunch of bubbles coming up around them, kind of like Sabaody, with squirrels and whatnot floating up around them. All the Straw Hats are sleeping. Actually, it's not all the Straw Hats here that I'm seeing. It's only the guys. I'm not seeing Robin or Nami, now that I'm thinking of it. Anyways, to get back into the story, this chapter's name is Chapter 1081, Kuzan, 10th Captain of the Blackbeard Pirates. So, we finally know that Kuzan is the 10th Titanic Captain. And that was the theory going for a long time, but, I mean, we get confirmation here. We start off the chapter exactly where we left off. Garp just using his galaxy impact, I think it was called, and it shows the destruction from it. Prince Gru, the clay guy, he makes a wave or whatnot for the ship to land in nearby. We get a double page spread of Kobe going, "Oh wow, I didn't think I was that important. I can't believe you actually came for me." Garp is a little disappointed. He's like, I'm getting rusty. It must be getting bad in my old age. I've really lost my touch. The onstanders there are like, really? You've got to be kidding me. Was that not enough destruction for you? Then they realize, it's Garp, and they're freaking out. Kobe comes running up with Hibari, I think it is. Yeah, Hibari. We see Kobe's friend, Captain Morgan's son. Why can I remember Morgan's and not his name? Yeah, well, anyways. Helmeppo. So, we see Helmeppo there, and he's crying, he's happy. We see Tashigi behind him. Then we see Prince Gru and his handful of people, and Prince Gru's like, I can't believe he called them Future of the Marines. I can't let him get ahead like that. Little bit of rivalry in there. So, Kobe's sitting there running towards Garp. Hibari's following him because, she's like, he's not safe yet. He's still got the chain and ball on his leg. So, as he's running towards him, all of a sudden, Hibari, mid-sentence, gets frozen solid. Kobe freaks out. Everybody, even Garp here, looks a little shocked. Garp at this point sees Kuzan and says, "Kuzan, what are you doing? Please hurry and unfreeze Hibari-san." The pirates on the island at this point. Yeah, I imagine that not everybody knew that Kuzan was a part of Blackbeard's crew. Kuzan says it'd be a bad look if Kobe escapes when Teach is away. This, that, the other thing. And then we have a little bit of flashback on how Kuzan joined. He's sitting in a bar. Seems like the Blackbeard pirates were there. He froze a bunch of them out there. Not sure who started that fight, but he's just sitting there drinking. Blackbeard comes into the bar, knowing, obviously it can't be anybody else other than him that did this. And Kuzan's just sitting there drinking. Blackbeard rushes in, all angry and whatnot. Kuzan's like, it probably wouldn't be any good if you're sitting there using the Quake fruit and, your crew's ice out there. They'd just shatter. So he goes into, I'm pretty heartbroken right now. This was 2 years ago. Ake and Aokiji, had a fierce duel over the fleet admiral position. And this is roughly a year after that. So Aokiji has been a part of Blackbeard's crew for about a year, it seems. So after that little confrontation, we see them, it's a little bit more forward in time, I imagine, because everybody's unfrozen, everything looks good. I'm not sure if Kuzan can unfreeze on will. I know he can freeze, but I don't think he can thaw. I don't think we've ever really explored that any. Anyways, we see them unfrozen, and they're all drinking together, kind of laughing. Blackbeard's like, "You're one crazy son of a bitch." Ice pop. Kuzan's like, look who's talking. They're hanging out, just BSing. And Kuzan's pretty much talking about the battle between him and Akainu. He throws a few jokes in there. One of them, Akainu, apparently said, to think we came up together, now we got to kill each other. Makes my blood boil. And then he said, that'll be the magma. And, it's dumb little jokes, just hanging out, drinking. And then we see Kuzan lift his pant leg, and he goes, thanks to him, I'm down a leg. I have to use my ice to replace it. They're joking around. His crew, Blackbeard's crew, is joking around. He's like, yeah, you Admiral sure don't fool around. What about, Akainu? Did you tear off an arm? Aokiji's like, no, but he's pretty banged up all over. So apparently Kuzan should be all scarred up. At this point, Katarina Devon mentions, speaking of injuries, what about the man marked in flame? Man marked by Kuzan's curious at this point. He's like, marked by flames. Burgess at this point goes, there's 4 red poneglyphs, talks about the poneglyphs, and says that apparently the man marked by flames has one of them, according to a rumor. So that would be why Law and Kid were after him. So there's a lot of theories on this already. Kuzan at this point says, I do? And somebody's like, yeah, not you. You just recently got scarred. I don't remember what his name is. The sniper dude. His crew goes on to explain, it's said that man can be found on a pitch black ship. And if anybody sails too near to it, they end up swallowed up by giant whirlpools. Might very well have a devil fruit power. Chiru says, I bet he's with the government. We know they're hardly angels. It wouldn't be surprising if they kept a stone or two for themselves. It'd be a surefire way to prevent any pirate from ever claiming the One Piece. Kuzan says, I don't remember seeing a giant red stone at Ohara, but poneglyphs hold nothing but bitter memories from him. Bitter memories, a dear friend taking a stand against the government, probably Soul, which is interesting because Soul is still alive, we've learned. So that is very interesting to think about. And then the traumatized eyes of a little girl that forced me to take fate into my own hands. So we know that Kuzan still has a soft spot for Robin and Saul. Those are going to be 2 of his enemies because Saul is allied with Shanks and Robin is part of Luffy's crew. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. The sniper of his crew goes to Blackbeard and says, his power could be useful. Should we steal it? Kuzan at this point says, I can hear you, asshole. I'll send you all back to this ice age. I heard you were hunting devil fruits. Bring it on. Blackbeard at this point is like, hang on. My pals were just being idiots. I wasn't planning on doing that. In fact, and that's when he offers him a spot on the crew. Blackbeard says, how'd you like to join our crew? His crew obviously object to that idea. And then Kuzan's like, what do you think? A couple drinks is just going to win me over? Blackbeard at this point kind of explains, so you got pirates all wrong. We ain't just merry band of chumps bumming around each other. We profit from having our own agendas. That's what makes us pirates. We're free now, so what do you want to do? So we know what he did. He joined the crew. So we get back to the present, and it looks like kind of Kuzan was sitting there remembering all this stuff. We see him kind of lost in thought. Then Garp goes, hey Kuzan, you'd better unfreeze Hibari and, let us take you back and get your ass back in uniform. Kuzan's like, you're as direct as ever. Always love that about you. But hate to say it, but that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what I feel like right now. And he uses Ice Ball on Garp. Freezes, puts a large ice ball all the way around Garp. And Garp starts to break out as Kuzan's like, your number 1 protege versus your new favorite. Can you kill one to save the other? Garp's like, you can't stop me like that, you dumbass. I thought I taught you to live in the now. He breaks out, jumps up, and looks at Kuzan, grabs Kuzan around the mouth, and says, only weaklings lose their way, and uses Blue Hole, grabs Kuzan, and just throws him straight down through the ground. Makes a crater. He looks like, Big Mom and Kaido did in the last arc. Now jump over to Winter Island in the New World. We see Splash in the water outside the island. We see Blackbeard there, smile on his face, but bloody. And then we see Law's hat. We then see the polar tang, which is sadly broken into, crumbled, and sinking to the ocean floor. See the narrator go, the polar tang, Heart Pirate's submarine, is currently sinking to the ocean floor, torn to pieces. We hear Blackbeard laugh and he says, without a ship, you can't even call yourself pirates anymore, let alone escape. Law is sitting there bloodied. We see Beppo bloodied, and Blackbeard sitting there laughing. The owners of the 100 hearts that you stole at the Rocky Port are still living on Pirate Island. I bet they'll be thrilled. If I bring them your hearts, we'll have a toast. And then we see Beppo think, do you really made these? Chopper going, I can't guarantee you. It'll work, okay? And we see Beppo eating something. So at this point, we hear Blackbeard, and he goes, now what should we do with the op fruit? Sell it or use it? And then he looks at Law and says, don't suppose you'd fancy making me immortal? And we see like a glow start to happen around Beppo. And then we see his Sulan form, which we have gotten answers about this. Beppo is apparently the strongest fighter other than potentially Law on Law's crew. And that's why he's the second command. Everybody's seen his Sulan form, seen him fight in it. And that's why they just go, okay, he's the second command. But Beppo looks like he doubles in size. He looks like the size of Neko Mumushi and them and Dogstorm, but he's like double the size of Blackbeard, it looks. And he just jumps up, says, keep your paws off the captain, slashes them away, knocks Blackbeard back, and they're shocked. They're like, did he go Sulong? There's no moon. Turns out Chopper made some medicine to make the minks go Sulong. Beppo at this point grabs Law and runs off. We see Winter Island, New World, and we hear them going, crap, they're escaping by sea. On this day, the Heart Pirates, led by Trafalgar Law, were soundly defeated. We see Law there, all kinds of bloodied, saying, go back. We can't abandon our crew. Beppo's like, we can't go back, but trust them, Captain. From the freezing ports of the north until now, we've always survived. None of us will let it end here. I've overcome so much, so don't you dare die, Captain. That's the end of the chapter. There's a break next week. I fully expect that Law will go back to the Straw Hat Pirates. I imagine Blackbeard's probably going to take his crew hostage because he wants that fruit. It's a strong fruit, and he knows Law will come back for his crew. Or that's the possibility too. Law could join the Grand Fleet, one of their pirate ships, because they are in the New World. Actually, yeah, because that's why Shanks left. Wano, I believe. He was like, there's some people attacking my land. So that could very well be a possibility. Beppo could end up on one of their ships, going, hey, please help Law. So that could be an angle that is going on, and that would keep Law in the story, considering he's a fan favorite. Kid, I don't have as much confidence for. He's not a fan favorite. So he could be out. Similar thing could happen with him. The Straw Hat Grand Fleet could pick him up, take him in. That'd be a way to keep both of them within the story, but not in the spotlight. With Garp throwing huge death flags, unfortunately. He could very well overpower Kuzan. I mean, I imagine he'll probably overpower Kuzan, but Kuzan hasn't put up much of a fight. It could also be that he is betraying Blackbeard and just has to make it look like it was a fight. Garp is known for his strength, so nobody would question, oh, well, he wasn't trying. Definitely interesting. I imagine probably next chapter we're going to go back to Egghead, get more information on what's going on there. It's going to be 2 weeks away. Yeah, I imagine that's probably going to be an Egghead chapter, and then we'll be a little bit, probably about a month and a half before we get back to seeing what's going on with Garp. Actually, it could go to Sabo. We haven't heard from Sabo in a while. Yeah, there's a lot that can go on in the story. We're definitely ramping up for a big ending and a big race for the last road poneglyph. Let me know what you guys thought about the chapter, and we'll see you in the next one.